Y'all already know what time it is when Kevin Hart pulls up to the scene, but what happened last Tuesday in Atlanta is about to change everything you thought you knew about surprises, loyalty, and what it really means to blow someone's mind in this industry. We're talking about a moment so unexpected, so game-changing, that even Cenat himself couldn't keep his composure. And trust me, that's saying something because this man has seen it all on stream. Picture this. It's a regular Tuesday afternoon, nothing special going on, just another day in the content creation grind. Kai's at his spot in Atlanta, probably thinking about his next stream, maybe planning some content with his crew, when his phone starts buzzing with messages he never saw coming. But before we get into that phone call that changed everything, we need to understand how we got here, because this story didn't start last Tuesday. This story has been building for months, maybe even years, and the pieces were falling into place in ways that nobody, and I mean nobody, could have predicted. Kevin Hart has been watching the streaming world explode over the past few years, and unlike a lot of traditional celebrities who are trying to figure out how to stay relevant in this new digital landscape, Kevin saw something different. He didn't just see numbers and views and subscriber counts. He saw genuine talent, authentic connection, and most importantly, he saw the future of entertainment happening right in front of his eyes. And two names kept coming up in every conversation he had about the streaming space: Cenat and Druski. Now Kai, this man has built an empire from his bedroom, turning late-night gaming sessions and random conversations into a movement that has millions of people tuning in every single day. We're talking about someone who has redefined what it means to be an entertainer in the digital age. His energy is infectious, his personality is magnetic, and his ability to connect with his audience is something that can't be taught in any film school or comedy class. Kevin Hart recognized that immediately. And then there's Druski, the man who turned awkward humor and random skits into viral gold. This guy has a natural comedic timing that most professional comedians spend decades trying to develop, and he's doing it while creating content on his phone. The authenticity, the relatability, the way he captures everyday moments and turns them into comedy gold. Kevin Hart saw something special there too. But here's where the story gets interesting, because Kevin wasn't just admiring these guys from a distance, like some Hollywood veteran patting the young kids on the head. He was studying them, learning from them, and most importantly, he was figuring out how to bridge the gap between traditional entertainment and this new digital frontier. Because Kevin Hart didn't become one of the biggest comedians in the world by playing it safe or sticking to the old playbook. He became a superstar by adapting, evolving, and always staying one step ahead of the game. So while Kai and Druski were grinding, building their brands, and creating content that was connecting with millions of people, Kevin Hart was putting together something that nobody saw coming. He was assembling a team, making phone calls, having meetings with network executives, streaming platform representatives, and production companies. He was building something that would change not just his career, but the careers of everyone involved. The phone call that came last Tuesday started simple enough. Kai's manager hits him up, says Kevin Hart wants to have a conversation. Now Kai's thinking maybe it's about a collaboration. Maybe Kevin wants to hop on stream for a few minutes, do some content together. Standard stuff that happens when traditional celebrities want to tap into the streaming world. Kai's done it before with other celebrities, so he's thinking this is just another Tuesday. But when Kevin Hart gets on that call, the energy is different. This isn't a casual, hey, let's do some content together conversation. Kevin's talking with the intensity and passion that only comes when someone is about to change the game completely. He starts talking about vision, about the future of entertainment, about opportunities that don't come around twice in a lifetime. And then Kevin drops the first bomb. He tells Kai that he's been working on something for months, something that combines the authenticity and connection of streaming with the production value and reach of traditional media. He's talking about a project that would give content creators the platform, the resources, and the support to create at a level that's never been done before. But here's the thing that made Kai's heart start racing. Kevin wasn't just talking about some generic opportunity. He was talking specifically about Kai and Druski. Kevin Hart had been watching both of them for over a year, studying their content, understanding their audience, and recognizing that they represented something special in the entertainment landscape. But more than that, he saw how they could be the foundation for something revolutionary, something that would change how content is created, distributed, and consumed. Now Kai's trying to process this information while Kevin's still talking, explaining how he's been in meetings with major streaming platforms, production companies, and even movie studios. Everyone wants in on this new wave of digital entertainment, but they don't understand it the way Kevin does. They see the numbers and want to capitalize, but they don't understand the culture, the authenticity, the connection that makes this whole thing work. That's where Kevin's genius comes in. He realized that the bridge between traditional entertainment and digital content couldn't be built by old Hollywood trying to understand new media, or by digital creators trying to break into old Hollywood. It had to be built by someone who understood both worlds completely, someone who had conquered traditional entertainment but was still hungry enough to embrace and champion the new wave. And Kevin Hart was that bridge. But we're still just getting started with this story, because while Kevin's explaining his vision to Kai, he drops another piece of information that changes everything. He tells Kai that this isn't just about creating content or building a platform. This is about ownership, about equity, about building something that these creators would actually own and control. We're talking about a complete paradigm shift in how content creators can build and monetize their careers. Kai's mind is racing at this point because he's hearing opportunity, but he's also thinking about his boy Druski. These two have been grinding in parallel, supporting each other, collaborating, and building together. So Kai asks the question that shows exactly why Kevin Hart chose him. What about my man Druski? Because if this is as big as you're saying, he needs to be part of this too. And that's when Kevin Hart smiled, because that response told him everything he needed to know about Kai's character, and why this whole thing was going to work. Kevin had already planned to include Druski from the beginning, but he wanted to see how Kai would respond. Wanted to see if success and opportunity would change his loyalty to his friends. And Kai passed that test with flying colors. So now Kevin's got both Kai and Druski on a three-way call, and he's explaining how this project isn't just about creating content. It's about building an empire. We're talking about a multi-platform approach that includes streaming, traditional television, movies, live events, merchandise, and even theme park attractions. This is Kevin Hart thinking 10 steps ahead and building something that will last decades, not just capitalize on a temporary trend. But here's where Kevin Hart shows why he's not just a comedian, but a legitimate business mogul. He doesn't just offer Kai and Druski roles in his project. He offers them partnerships, real equity, real ownership, real control over their creative processes and their financial futures. This is the kind of opportunity that most content creators dream about, but never actually see, because usually when traditional entertainment comes calling, they want to buy your talent, not invest in your future. Kevin Hart understood that the old model of talent acquisition wasn't going to work in this new landscape. You can't just sign content creators to contracts and expect them to maintain the authenticity and connection that made them successful in the first place. You have to invest in them as entrepreneurs, as business partners, as creative equals. And that's exactly what Kevin was offering. The project Kevin had been developing was called Digital Dynasty, and it represented a complete reimagining of how entertainment content could be created and distributed. Picture a production company that operates like a streaming platform, but with the resources of a major movie studio, and the cultural understanding of someone who's been grinding in the content creation space for years. That's what Kevin Hart was building. But Digital Dynasty wasn't just about creating content. It was about creating a system that would identify, develop, and support the next generation of digital entertainers. Kevin Hart realized that Kai and Druski weren't just individual success stories. They were proof of concept for a whole new approach to entertainment that could be replicated, scaled, and built into something that would change the industry forever. And here's the part that shows Kevin Hart's true genius. He didn't want to change Kai and Druski to fit into his world. He wanted to build a world that would amplify what they were already doing. The authenticity, the connection, the raw talent, all of that would remain exactly the same. But now it would be supported by professional production teams, marketing experts, distribution networks, and financial resources that would take their content to levels they never imagined possible. Kai and Druski are listening to all this, trying to process the magnitude of what Kevin Hart is offering them, when he drops the biggest surprise of all. He tells them that the first project under the Digital Dynasty banner is going to be a feature film, a comedy that combines traditional storytelling with the improvisational, authentic style that makes streaming content so engaging. and he wants Kai and Druski to be the stars. Now we're not talking about cameo appearances or small supporting roles. Kevin Hart is offering them the opportunity to be leading men in a major motion picture, with full creative input on the script, the characters, and the overall direction of the project. This is the kind of opportunity that most actors spend their entire careers trying to achieve, and Kevin Hart is handing it to two content creators because he recognizes their talent and their potential. But the movie is just the beginning. Kevin explains how Digital Dynasty is designed to create an ecosystem where successful projects feed into other successful projects. The movie would drive audiences to their streaming content, which would drive audiences to their live events, which would drive audiences to their merchandise, which would create opportunities for brand partnerships, which would fund the next movie, and on and on. It's a self-sustaining cycle of success that gets bigger and stronger with each iteration. Kai's trying to stay cool on this call, but inside he's thinking about how this could change everything for him, for his family, for his community. We're talking about generational wealth, about building something that will last long after the streaming trends change and the platforms evolve. This is about legacy, about being remembered not just as successful content creators, but as pioneers who helped bridge the gap between digital entertainment and traditional media. And Druski's having similar thoughts, but he's also thinking about representation, about what it means for someone who looks like him, who comes from where he comes from, to be offered this kind of opportunity. Because this isn't just about individual success. This is about proving that authentic talent can come from anywhere, and that the entertainment industry needs to evolve to recognize and support that talent. But Kevin Hart isn't done surprising them yet. He tells them that he's already secured distribution deals with major streaming platforms and theatrical release commitments from major movie chains. The infrastructure is already in place. The financial backing is already secured. All that's missing is their yes, and production can begin within weeks. The timeline Kevin Hart lays out is aggressive but exciting. Pre-production would begin immediately. Filming would start within 2 months, and the movie would be released within a year. But more than that, the streaming content, the live events, and all the other components of Digital Dynasty would be launching simultaneously, creating a multimedia experience that audiences have never seen before. Kai asks about creative control, because that's always the concern when content creators start working with traditional entertainment companies. Too often, the authentic voice that made someone successful gets lost in committee decisions and corporate oversight. But Kevin Hart addresses that concern head-on. He explains that Digital Dynasty is structured specifically to preserve and amplify authentic voices, not dilute them. The creative process would be collaborative, but Kai and Druski would have final approval on anything that affects their characters or their content. They wouldn't just be talent hired to perform someone else's vision. They would be creative partners, helping to shape the entire project from concept to completion. And then Kevin Hart shares something personal that explains why this whole project means so much to him. He talks about his own journey in entertainment, how he had to fight for opportunities, how he had to prove himself over and over again, how he had to navigate an industry that didn't always understand or appreciate his unique style and perspective. Kevin Hart sees Kai and Druski facing some of the same challenges he faced, but in a completely different landscape. The opportunities are bigger, but so are the obstacles. The potential for success is greater, but so is the potential for failure. And Kevin Hart wants to use everything he's learned, every connection he's made, every resource he's accumulated, to make sure that talented people don't have to struggle the way he did. This is Kevin Hart's way of giving back, but it's also his way of staying relevant and innovative in an industry that's constantly changing. By partnering with Kai and Druski, he's not just helping them achieve their dreams, he's ensuring that his own career continues to evolve and grow in ways that keep him at the forefront of entertainment. The conversation goes on for over 2 hours, with Kevin Hart answering every question, addressing every concern, and painting a picture of possibilities that gets more exciting with every detail. But ultimately, he tells them that they don't have to decide right now. This is too big of a decision to make on a phone call. He wants them to think about it, talk to their teams, really consider what this means for their futures. But then Kevin Hart does something that shows exactly why he's been so successful for so long. He tells them that regardless of their decision about Digital Dynasty, he wants to support them in whatever way he can. If they're not ready for this level of opportunity, he understands. If they want to continue building their individual brands before taking on a project this big, he respects that. But he also wants them to know that opportunities like this don't come around often, and timing is everything in the entertainment business. After the call ends, Kai and Druski are left processing everything they just heard. We're talking about a complete transformation of their careers, their financial situations, their creative possibilities, and their potential impact on the entertainment industry. This isn't just about getting a break or landing a good opportunity. This is about becoming part of something that could change the industry forever. Kai calls his family, talks to his mum, explains what just happened and what it could mean for all of them. Druski does the same, reaching out to the people who've supported him from the beginning, the people who believed in him when nobody else did. Because success means nothing if you can't share it with the people who matter most. But both of them are also thinking about the pressure, about the expectations, about what happens if they say yes to this opportunity and then don't deliver. Kevin Hart is betting his reputation, his resources, and his relationships on them. That's not a responsibility that either of them takes lightly. Over the next few days, Kai and Druski have multiple conversations with their teams, their families, and each other. They're analyzing this opportunity from every angle, considering the potential benefits and risks, thinking about how this fits into their long-term goals and their personal values. And the more they think about it, the more they realize that this isn't just about them. This is about representation, about proving that authentic talent deserves authentic opportunities, about showing that the entertainment industry can evolve and grow by embracing new voices and new approaches. They also realize that Kevin Hart chose them not just because of their individual talents, but because of their friendship, their mutual support, and their shared commitment to staying authentic, no matter how successful they become. This project works because they work together, because their chemistry and their genuine relationship create content that audiences can't get anywhere else. So when Kevin Hart calls back 3 days later to check in on their decision, Kai and Druski are ready with their answer. They're in. They're all in. They're ready to take this leap and see where it leads, because they understand that opportunities like this define careers and create legacies. But Kevin Hart has one more surprise for them. He tells them that the first Digital Dynasty project isn't just a movie, it's a trilogy. 3 films that tell a complete story, that showcase their range as performers, and that establish them as legitimate movie stars. We're talking about a multi-year commitment, a long-term partnership, and a level of investment that shows Kevin Hart's complete confidence in their potential. The first film would be a comedy that plays to their strengths, showcasing the humor and authenticity that made them successful in the first place. The second film would be more dramatic, giving them the opportunity to show their range as actors and connect with audiences on a deeper emotional level. The third film would combine comedy and drama, creating a complete character arc that demonstrates their growth as performers and as people. But the trilogy is just the beginning. Kevin Hart explains how each film would be accompanied by streaming content, live events, brand partnerships, and merchandising opportunities that create multiple revenue streams and keep audiences engaged between theatrical releases. This is a complete entertainment ecosystem built around their talents and their brand. The financial details of the deal are staggering. We're talking about base salaries that would make them millionaires before the first film even starts production, plus back-end percentages that could make them wealthy beyond their wildest dreams if the projects are successful. But more than the money, we're talking about ownership, about equity, about building something that will generate income for decades to come. Kevin Hart also explains how Digital Dynasty will include development deals for other content creators, making Kai and Druski not just stars of the company, but partners in identifying and supporting the next generation of digital entertainers. They'll have the opportunity to be mentors, producers, and creative collaborators on projects that could launch other careers and create other success stories. This is Kevin Hart thinking like a true entrepreneur, building a company that doesn't just create content, but creates opportunity, that doesn't just generate profit, but generates careers, that doesn't just entertain audiences, but empowers creators. The signing happens at Kevin Hart's production offices in Los Angeles, with lawyers, agents, and executives from streaming platforms and movie studios all in attendance. But despite all the business formality, the moment when Kai and Druski actually sign their contracts is surprisingly emotional. Kevin Hart gets choked up talking about how proud he is to be working with them, how excited he is about what they're going to build together, and how confident he is that this partnership will change all of their lives in ways they can't even imagine yet. Kai and Druski are feeling the weight of the moment too, understanding that they're not just signing contracts, but committing to a journey that will test their talents, challenge their creativity, and potentially establish them as major forces in the entertainment industry. But the most powerful moment comes when Kevin Hart talks about legacy, about what they want to be remembered for, about how this partnership represents more than just business success. This is about proving that talent and authenticity can overcome any obstacle, that dreams can become reality with the right combination of hard work, opportunity, and mutual support. The first Digital Dynasty film begins production 6 weeks later, with a script that combines Kevin Hart's comedic sensibilities with Kai and Druski's authentic voices and natural chemistry. The supporting cast includes established stars who are excited to work with these rising talents, and the production team includes some of the most respected professionals in the industry. But what makes this project special isn't just the star power or the production value, it's the energy on set, the genuine excitement from everyone involved, and the understanding that they're not just making a movie, but creating something that could change how movies are made, marketed, and consumed. The streaming content that accompanies the film's production gives audiences unprecedented behind-the-scenes access, showing the creative process, the challenges, the successes, and the genuine relationships that make this whole project work. Fans get to see Kai and Druski growing as performers, learning from Kevin Hart and the other professionals on set, and maintaining the authenticity that made them successful in the first place. The live events that promote the film are unlike anything the entertainment industry has ever seen, combining traditional movie premieres with streaming-style audience interaction, creating experiences that are part red carpet event, part concert, part interactive performance. And the results speak for themselves. The first Digital Dynasty film breaks box office records for comedy releases, dominates streaming platforms for weeks after its theatrical run, and establishes Kai and Druski as legitimate movie stars with crossover appeal that reaches far beyond their original audiences. But more importantly, the success of the project validates Kevin Hart's vision and proves that authentic talent can thrive in any medium with the right support and resources. Digital Dynasty becomes a model for how traditional entertainment can evolve to embrace and amplify new voices, new approaches, and new definitions of success. The second film in the trilogy pushes Kai and Druski even further, giving them dramatic roles that challenge their range as performers, while maintaining the authentic connection with audiences that makes their content so compelling. The critical and commercial success of this film establishes them not just as comedy stars, but as serious actors capable of carrying major motion pictures. By the time the third film is released, Kai and Druski are household names. Digital Dynasty is one of the most successful production companies in Hollywood, and Kevin Hart has cemented his reputation as not just a performer, but a visionary entrepreneur who recognized and nurtured the future of entertainment. But the real success of this partnership isn't measured in box office numbers or streaming statistics. It's measured in the opportunities it creates for other content creators, the barriers it breaks down between different forms of entertainment, and the proof it provides that authentic talent will always find a way to connect with audiences, regardless of the medium or the platform. The partnership between Kevin Hart, Cenat, and Druski represents more than just a business deal or a career opportunity. It represents a fundamental shift in how the entertainment industry identifies, develops, and supports talent. It proves that success in the digital age requires embracing new voices, new approaches, and new definitions of what it means to be an entertainer. And this is just the beginning. Digital Dynasty continues to grow, signing new talent, developing new projects, and creating new opportunities for content creators who might otherwise never get the chance to reach their full potential. Kevin Hart's vision of building a bridge between traditional entertainment and digital content has become a reality that's changing careers, changing audiences, and changing the industry itself. The story of how Kevin Hart surprised Cenat and Druski with this career-changing opportunity is really the story of how authentic talent, genuine friendship, and visionary leadership can combine to create something greater than the sum of its parts. It's a story about taking risks, embracing change, and never forgetting the people and the principles that made success possible in the first place. And if you've been following this journey, if you've been inspired by what these three men have built together, then you understand that opportunities like this don't just happen by accident. They happen because talented people work hard, support each other, and stay ready for the moments when preparation meets opportunity. So the question isn't whether you'll ever get an opportunity like this. The question is whether you'll be ready when your opportunity comes, whether you'll have the talent, the work ethic, the relationships, and the vision to recognize and seize the moment that could change everything. Because somewhere out there, someone is watching your content, recognizing your potential and planning the surprise that could change your life forever. The only question is whether you'll be ready to say yes when that phone call comes, whether you'll have the courage to take the leap, and whether you'll remember to bring your people with you when you make that jump. This is more than just entertainment. This is inspiration. This is proof that dreams can become reality, that authentic talent will always find a way to shine, and that the best surprises are the ones that change not just your day, but your entire future. And that's exactly what Kevin Hart delivered when he surprised Cenat and Druski with the opportunity of a lifetime.